Today is May 12th, 2022. Okay, and today we're going to look at industrial settings as social technical systems. Okay. We're going to look at these two dimensions of such systems, and afterwards we will discuss certain aspects of it. So if you imagine this is the social dimension, okay, and the vertical is the technical dimension. We describe a virtual area. This is the technical dimension. We describe an area, okay? And let's investigate what happens in this area. From left to right, social complexity increases. So from left to right, social complexity increases. From bottom to top, technical complexity increases. Okay? Let's look at the social dimension. Humans. Okay? What is the minimal unit of a social setting? It's the individual. Okay? So the individual person. This is you and you and you and you, everyone. Okay? Each one of the people taking part in one organization setting, in one organizational setting. So this individual needs one characteristic, which is trustworthiness. In German, Vertrauenswürdigkeit. Okay? Trustworthiness. I'll paint it with a different color. We haven't seen this before, right? We haven't. No. So this is a balance. To be trustworthy, or in German vertrauenswürdig, is a balance between character and competence. Character and competence. Character is who you are, and competence is what you can do. Okay? So if you are a doctor, or if you're a patient, you don't go to a doctor who has a very good character. You can tell this doctor everything, okay? But has a competence from 20 years ago. This doctor is not trustworthy. Does it make sense? If you get a doctor that has a very good competence and knows everything about a subject, but prescribes one operation that you don't need, this doctor is also not trustworthy doctor. In German. Ihr geht nicht zu einem Arzt, der hat einen super Charakter, aber kennt sich nicht aus mit dem Thema, kennt sich nur mit dem State of the Art von vor 20 Jahren. Dieser Arzt ist nicht vertrauenswürdig. Ein Arzt, der sich super auskennt, aber verschreibt eine OP, die man nicht braucht, ist auch nicht vertrauenswürdig, weil er will nur Kohle machen, wie auch immer. Okay? Vorsicht. This concept of trustworthiness is universal. So it is valid for your different roles in life, as a professional, in your personal life, with your friends, with your girlfriend, boyfriend, or whatever, with everyone. If you don't have a balance between your competence and your character, you're not trustworthy. Okay? Unfortunately, the Bildungssystem or the teaching, lectures, whatever, focus almost solely here on competence. You almost solely learn stuff. You don't learn how to become a strong character. You don't learn it. Nobody tells you, nobody teaches this. It's very difficult to find character building actions, okay? And this is the most important. Believe me, if I tell you that in 5 years, whatever you have learned here is almost not worthy. Okay? But if you have developed a character of discipline, of learning, of chunking information, and then you will have a benefit. Habt ihr eine Frage? Hallo? Habt ihr Fragen? Dann bitte Ruhe. Nicht bitte fragen, okay? So, a balance between character and competence is necessary to be trustworthy. Why is trustworthiness important? Because the next level of social complexity is the relational level. Here you have relations. You create networks, as we have seen, okay? Very complex. So, Jungs, Mädels, wenn ihr Lust habt zu quatschen, bitte nehmt den Weg in die Cafeteria. Okay, es ist sehr schwer für mich, mich zu konzentrieren, wenn die Leute quatschen. Ich nehme es nicht übel, alles wird aufgenommen, aber bitte respektiere auch die anderen, okay? Bitte. So, the next level of social complexity is our relations, okay? And you can build networks through relations, very complex networks, okay? So, the thing that you need when you create relationships is trust. Okay? And you cannot build trust, also Vertrauen, you cannot build trust without being trustworthy. Man kann nicht Vertrauen aufbauen, ohne vertrauenswürdig zu sein. Geht nicht. You can fool people for a while, you can lead them into believing that you're trustworthy, but on the long run, it doesn't work. Okay? And if you think you can fool people all the time, believe me, it doesn't work. So, and if you think about trust, you may think about it like a bank account, okay, like a box where you saving trust euros, okay? You're saving trust money on every relationship you have, okay? So every action, everything you do for people, every conversation you build on, or you try to build on trust. Sometimes people make mistakes and they just withdraw trust money from their account, okay? But if you have built trust before, then you can always try to get a positive balance. So another way to think about it is like this. This person, say you, okay, have 3 degrees of liberty. You can choose what you think. You can choose what you say. And you can choose what you do. I paint here a hammer, okay? So think, say, and do. Those are your 3 liberties, no more. If you have a gap between what you say and what you do, a delta between what you say and what you do, then you are hurting trustworthiness. Wenn ihr was anders sagt, als was ihr denkt, dann verletzt ihr die Vertrauenswürdigkeit. If you have a gap between what you say and what you do, then you are hurting trust. Okay, so wenn ihr etwas anders sagt, als was ihr tut, dann verletzt ihr irgendeine Beziehung. You just promise your customer to deliver a certain product, or you promise your girlfriend to take her out in a field trip, or your little brother, whatever, okay? So if you don't do what you say you will do, you are going to hurt trust. If you don't say what you think, you're going to hurt trustworthiness. Okay? Makes sense? This is universal, by the way. This is like this in Korea, in Japan, in Germany, and 100 years ago. Okay? And 500 years ago. This is universal. What I'm talking about is not only about project management. This is universal principles. So why do we need trust? Because on a managerial level, you want to empower people. So this is your project member, and the management of the project, let's say, wants to empower, Befähigung, okay? Bring people up in their performance. So in a management role, we want to empower people. In Deutsch, Befähigung. Okay? You cannot empower somebody if you don't have a trust relationship with this person. It just doesn't work. You cannot force people to trust you, right? They give you trust. As we said, trust is based on trustworthiness. So why do we want empowerment? Because at an organizational level, we want all the vectors of the organization to be coordinated. You know, all these vectors, we want them to be coordinated towards some strategic goals. So this is at an organizational level. We are seeking for alignment. Eine gemeinsame Ausrichtung. Okay? Alignment, eine gemeinsame Ausrichtung. You cannot attain alignment if you don't empower people. You cannot empower people if you don't have trust. You cannot build up trust if you're not trustworthy. So everything boils down to each individual. Okay? Yeah. Goals. So the forces of the organization align. Let's say this is logistics, production, HR, purchasing, all the forces in the organization need to align to support some strategic goals, right? That's what we're looking for. We want an organization to work together, right? And this is called alignment. All the vectors work together. So you see, we have a social dimension that grows in complexity, that cannot be forced upon. You cannot force trust on people, and that's why even if you're a very powerful person in the organization, you cannot control complexity. You need to create the conditions so that alignment emerges. So this creates sort of a space in which you, people in organizations, are going to be involved. Let's look at the, any questions about this? Yeah.
Was ist, wenn ich gezwungen bin, jemandem zu vertrauen? Also zum Beispiel,
Geht
wenn
nicht.
ich jetzt sagen, das ist jetzt nicht prüfungsrelevant. Bin ich ja eigentlich gezwungen dazu, ihm zu vertrauen. Gibt es ihm so einen Vorschuss an Vertrauen. Wenn Sie das jetzt tatsächlich dranbringen, klar, dann ist das Vertrauen kaputt, aber man muss ja dann so einen gewissen Vorschuss an Vertrauen machen.
Klar, Vertrauen ist so, die nicht sichtbare Kraft, die uns bindet. Okay? Eine Gesellschaft ohne Vertrauen zahlt eine Vertrauenssteuer. Ja. Auch eine Organisation. Ja. Das heißt, Vertrauen hat einen Benefit für uns beide. Wenn wir uns gegenseitig vertrauen, können wir voneinander lernen, profitieren, Geschäfte machen, Beziehungen führen und so weiter. Also Vertrauen hat einen Vorteil für beide Parteien. Nun, die Voraussetzung dafür ist, dass das Vertrauen mit Taten untermauert wird. Das heißt, also meine Empfehlung generell, reden wir nochmal da nachher ein bisschen drüber, wenn wir über Psychopathen reden, I answer you in English, okay? I want everybody to. Whenever you find somebody in your life that is not trustworthy, cut this relationship. Don't wait 1 year, or don't expect this person to change. Cut it. Run as fast as you can, okay? Because you cannot change people. It's impossible, okay? So whenever you are, Hollywood tries to, wait. You know, this idea of love, romantic, no, this person is the right one, I will change this person, right? This is bullshit. I mean, really bull crap. Maximale Scheiße. Okay? Lasst euch nicht in den Kopf scheißen. Das ist die wichtigste Botschaft, da glaube ich, in der ganzen Vorlesung. Okay? Also, if you find somebody that is not trustworthy, that doesn't follow on what they say, cut the relationship. Cut it. Because there are a lot of people in the world who are very cool, you can learn a lot from them, but don't waste your time, because time is very, 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 very short. Okay? We will talk about this in 30 minutes, okay? I will give you some hints on how to deal with psychopaths and narcissists, because I think this is super important for young people your age, okay? But you are never, ever forced to trust somebody. This is your decision. And if you trust someone once, it's your mistake. If you trust somebody twice, okay, then you're to blame. Okay, so does that answer your question?
Yes.
Good. So the technical level is also interesting to talk about because it gives an overall frame. So you have here your, let's say, machine. Then you can combine several machines. In what we call a process, let's say a production line. You can combine several processes in what we call, let's say, a factory. And you can combine several factories in what we shall call, let's say, a supply chain, okay? Maybe you've heard about the concept before. Okay, so this is a supply. All the concepts that we have seen regarding networks apply. Okay, you can have a network of sensors within a machine. You can have a network of machines. You can have a network of factories, and so on. So whenever you want to study a complex system, study the network of it. And as this is just a model, let me just finish it. Okay. And as you can see, the individual person can be working at a machine, can be working as a process manager, can be working as a factory manager, can be working on a global scale. You can have relationships on a local level until to the global scale. And the skills that you will need are different. You don't deal the same way with a factory manager in Izmir and with a factory manager in Untertürkheim. Not the same shit. You don't deal the same way with a worker in Tokyo and with a worker in Stuttgart. Not the same shit. You need to develop skills that are different for each one, okay? So the same way with the empowerment and at an organizational level, either way. So you see, the complexity is humongous. Okay, to learn how to deal with this crap is very, very tough because complexity is constantly increasing. So what happens? To make things even more difficult, we have yet another dimension going out of the paper, which is IT, information technology. Okay? And this deals with first data that is transformed into information. That is then transformed into value. So you can pinpoint any of these blue points that we see there and pull them out of the paper to get data from an individual, create information from the data and create value from that information. Any, okay? And then combine all those in super complex process and product management assets, and then you get organizations. So a pretty tough and rough environment to deal with. So this is a framework for Industry 4.0 complex systems. Just in case somebody asks that in the exam, okay? You know what you need to talk about. If I shall ask this into the exam, you don't not only write down the image, you need to explain, okay? Each step. It's like we did here today. Any questions? Fragen? Ne? Gut. Ja.
So you can get data from every point you pointed in the
Yes.
So you can get data from an individual and a machine, but also from an organization and a supply chain.
Yes.
And that creates data.
I can put a wearable on a worker working at a machine. I can put a tag, an RFID tag on a product and know where it is. I can, let's say, measure the status of the factory through certain KPIs, whatever. I can, yeah.
Trustworthy or empower doesn't belong to that.
No, they do, because I can also, if you look into my research list, you can put a helm on a worker and measure their brain activity and see what kind of thought process they have when they deal with others.
But then you don't.
No, yes, but you can measure it.
Yeah.
So you get data. From that data, you get information. From that information, you can create value. That was your question.
Okay.
So it's possible. It is very costly. People don't do it. Okay? Believe me, when you're working 10 years in one company, you will know who you can trust and who you cannot. I'm sure here in this group, you've been together, what, 2.5 years? You know who you can trust and who you can't. I bet. And if we ask individually about everybody else, the results will be consistent. Okay? Because trust is the oil that we need to function as a society, and people know. They don't talk about it because it doesn't bring any advantage, but know. Okay? Does make sense?
Yes.
So question answer?
But I'm not sure if I understand it right. What kind of data we get from all the stages? So what are examples for data we get?
Yeah, I just gave you a couple, but I can give you more. So here, this level, you can always put a wearable on a person. Measure their heartbeats, measure the way they walk, measure their brain activity, whatever you want. You can measure relationships, putting a helm on people and measuring their brain activity. You can measure their language, you can measure their body language, you can measure stuff like that, okay? Here, you can measure how people learn. I teach you something, I make a test, I measure how you have learned it, okay? So I measure empowerment. At an organizational level, it's more difficult. You need more statistics. You need an analysis of the KPIs of the organization to measure if they're aligned or not. And with machines, it's pretty similar. You can put sensors on machines. You can measure the performance of processes, output, Durchlaufzeit. You can measure the performance of a factory at all levels, okay? That doesn't matter. And you can measure, of course, the performance of the supply chain, logistic. Okay, so the world is becoming increasingly sensorized. And from this data, you get information. From this information, you create value. And this will be the game changer in the future. Be able to get the right data, get the right information from the data, and create value from that. Does this answer your question?
So you check if the management of the strategic goals are fitting in the supply chain.
For instance, yeah. If they're working, if not, we can change them, whatever. Good. So. What we can measure?
You gave examples for each point, which information we can just get from each individual point.
Yeah.
Correlations.
You need to talk louder, man.
I missed the point management point, what you can measure.
Yeah, so here in the empowerment, I can teach my people about programming in Python, and then I can make them, I can make an exam if they have learned it. Yeah. All right, yeah.
So the technical systems, it wouldn't be a problem to get the information, of course, but at the social level, I'm critical with the point that everyone will offer his data, that we are connected with Chrome or something like that. I can't imagine this.
Okay, I understand you're critical. It will happen.
Oh, okay. So also here in Germany, you get the point that
20 years ago, it was unthinkable, or 50 years ago, it was unthinkable that people would connect like this. Today, you are giving your data away for free when you download one application. So I understand you're critical. The way I think it will happen, people will create fear in our brains.
So you think the companies will do that, and we didn't really notice that
They are already doing it without you knowing. Your computer, your iPhones are all being watched.
Yeah, in privacy.
Yeah, so
life, yes.
yeah, so whenever you send a JPEG through your WhatsApp, you're sending information about you, your location, bam, 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 a lot of metadata. So, and this also is going to happen in companies even more. So your emails are going to be monitored and stuff like that.
Yeah, but at this point, they will control us a little bit.
Yeah, no, they already control us. Yeah. They just don't want us to know.
It will increase in this case.
Yeah, I think so. So that you don't want it to happen, I understand, but it will happen. It's already happening, actually. We just don't know. The Chinese government has the power to control every individual in the world on an individual level, IT-wise, so the computational power. And if they have the power, they will use it whenever needed. Okay? So the way societies have changed, the political shape or the economic shape through revolutions and stuff like that will not work anymore. We need a different way. And that's going to be a challenge. Yeah. Yeah.
You said that we need, as for example, management to lead somebody. We need a balance between the character, so the trust, and the competence.
Character is who you are.
Yeah, or we need trustworthy to lead somebody.
Yeah.
But if we now say that all of our workers should wear sensors, didn't we lose some of that trust because they
Yeah.
think that we trust them?
See, the thing is that you will give your data voluntarily. I don't know if because of a war you will think that you need to be protected, fear, okay? Or if you give your data away and then you get a discount on your health insurance. This is already happening in the US. Or if you give your data away because you want to download a certain program. Okay? So whenever something's for free, whenever something is sweet, it will become sour. Ich wiederhole es in Deutsch. Wenn etwas süß ist, wird es sauer. Umgekehrt. Wenn etwas sauer ist am Anfang, wird süß. Okay? So, das ist halt die Sache. In my understanding, the best behavioral pattern at an individual level is to be a polite asshole. Ein höfliches Arschloch. Okay? Why? Because when you're polite, okay, nothing can be told to you, or nothing can be, I don't know, people cannot make you any, how do you say, Vorwürfe, okay, that you're behaving badly, but you are defending yourself from aggression, and you only let in those that you trust. The reason why I am so concerned about this is because I am observing in people your age a weakness, okay? Character weakness. Probably because of the amount of input you're getting from a bunch of platforms, a lot of behavioral patterns you're getting all the time, okay? Brainwashing you, and or with, let's say, Netflix, or let's say TikTok, whatever platforms you use, okay? All sorts of distorted behavioral patterns, and you need to be a little bit more, how do you say, reluctant, abprallend, to accept things in your brain. So don't let people shit inside your brain, okay? Lasst euch nicht in den Kopf scheißen. Ich wiederhole es. Because people are out there, most of the people are out there to get something out of you. There are 4 dimensions in a person, okay? 4-dimensional of humans. There are 4 dimensions. They are coupled with 4 needs. And only in the middle, you are a human. Only in the middle, only if the 4 dimensions are being supported, nourished if the 4 dimensions are being fed regularly, you are a human. You are acting as a human being. So let's look at them. And this is also universal, by the way. It's true in Korea and in Japan and in Germany and in the US. Okay, so the first dimension is the human body. The second dimension is the human heart. The third dimension is the human mind. The fourth is the human spirit. So you as a person, you, everyone, is the conglomerate of body, heart, mind, and spirit. 4 dimensions. Whenever you find somebody in your life that is only looking at you in 1 or 2 or 3 of these dimensions, they are using you for their needs, to fulfill their needs. So if you have a partner, if a friend, a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, that is using you as a body because you're cute, because you're pretty, or it's using you as an emotional support, your heart, or it's using you because you're intelligent, or it's using you because you have a very good moral compass, whatever, or any mix of them, then you're being used as a thing, not as a human. Okay? And that ain't good. This does not empower you. So whenever you come in contact with any product that does not empower you in the 4 dimensions, leave it. Say no. No, thank you. There are 4 needs coupled to these 4 dimensions. Here we need to leave the body. Here we need to love. Here we need to learn. Here we need to leave a legacy. Those are the needs. Okay? Sunhide. Those are the needs, and the blacks are the dimensions. If you find somebody that is using you, what do you do? What do you do? What? Yeah, cut it off. Go fuck yourself. Use somebody else. I'm not going to be used by you. I don't want you in my life. Hit the road, Jack. Can you get asleep? Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more. Yeah, so it's the way the cookie crumbles. So whenever you find somebody that is using you, cut it. Got it? Run as fast as you can, okay? So what are the two main characters you will find in an organization that will try to use you up? An organization, but also personally, that will try to use you up. Psychopaths and narcissists. Okay, psychopaths and narcissists. Let's look at those 2 behavioral patterns. Psychopaths. Alles klar? Ja? Psychopaths and narcissists. Let's look at psychopaths. Let's say both are not, let's say these people are not crazy, okay? They have behavioral how do you say in Deutsch, in German, Verhaltensstörungen. Okay, I don't know how to say in English. You cannot say they're crazy, but they behave so that they use others. Okay? Psychopaths are, they have a certain amount of callousness. They don't engage emotionally with others. They use others as things. Okay? Basically, by targeting people that are rich or beautiful or intelligent, they target them and use them to extract whatever they want from them. Interestingly enough, if you take people on the street, around let's say 1 to 3% of the people is a psychopath. So if you take 100, 1 or 2 to 3 will be psychopaths. If you go to a jail, okay, then around 15% of the people are psychopaths. Now it comes. If you go to higher management, around 15% of the people plus are psychopaths. Why is that? Does it make you come up in the corporate ladder to be a psychopath? Maybe. Maybe. We don't know. Okay, so sometimes it's not really being under scrutiny of research enough to determine if it is the psychopathy that brings you up or you're up and you become a psychopath. We don't know. Okay, what it is for sure is that psychopaths are there. They're like, let's say, wolves. They're good partners. If you play hardball, remember höfliches Arschloch. Okay? Play hardball. Don't be the nice guy. Nice guys don't fuck. Okay? Nice guys don't fuck. So you don't need to be nice. You don't need to be a bad person either. Just don't let people inside you that is not giving you anything to grow. Okay? By being nice, you don't gain anything. There is no benefit in being nice. There is no benefit in being rude either. But if you're nice, these people will interpret you as weak and they will hunt you. Okay? So let's look at narcissists. This is even more interesting. For your age range. A narcissist is not a psychopath. A narcissist is somebody that is unable to create their own feelings. They need to hunt on others. They're empty. Okay, let's say, let me paint somebody like this. Yeah, so a narcissist is somebody that is empty. This is the narcissist. And they hunt for empathic people. They hunt for empathy. So let's say here, this is the empath, this is the Opfer, the victim, okay? They're scrutinizing all the time their surroundings, looking for prey, all the time. So it's usually people that have 2, 3, 4, whatever number of sexual partners, or yeah, basically they hunt for the scrutinizing all the time in order to get the energy out of this person and demoralize, take out the morals of this person, so that this person is even more vulnerable. And this I have experienced, especially young people your age are victims of narcissists between 20 and 30, okay? The most important decision you will make, is who you have kids with. Don't fuck that one. Okay? Do not, you cannot, but not because of you, because of your children, okay? So be very, very careful how you choose on that one. So, and the reason why I explain this about narcissists is because young people are keen to be victims of narcissists, okay? Why? Young, beautiful, whatever, okay? And the good news is that you can, if you know how they work, you can protect. Because they always work the same. It's always the same. So it's always the same pattern. If you detect this pattern, what do you have to do? Fuck yourself. Cut it off. Okay? Don't waste one week or 1 year or, no, people don't change. If you let a narcissist inside of you, chances are that you waste 3, 4, 5, 10 years of your life. The best years of your life. It's not worth it at all. Nobody's worth it, okay, to waste time. So how does it work? And of course, people in organizations are narcissists too, okay, some certain percentage. How does it work? They always work the same way. Let's say this line, this color, okay, represents the amount of attention from the narcissist to the empath. Okay? The amount of attention that the narcissist is putting into the empath person. The first stage, it's called observing. So there is no apparent attention, but in reality, the narcissist is screening intensively, is observing intensively this victim to find out what are the weak spots, what is important for you, okay? In order to be prepared, but this is done silently, okay, without the empath knowing. In order to prepare for the second level, which is called bombing. In which the attention explodes, okay? If you start getting 100 WhatsApp messages a day, 5, 7 calls from one person you barely know, you just met, or a lot of likes in your social media, ring the bell. Okay? Start having your alarm on. You might be dealing with a narcissist. Okay? What does this create in the brain of the victim? The brain of the victim, we have a different curve, a different color, say this color. This is the amount of oxytocin. This is the hormone you secrete when you are eating chocolate, okay? When you feel lucky, when you feel happy, okay? So because the narcissist is giving us a lot of attention, is giving the empath a lot of attention, the empath feels flattered. And the levels of oxytocin grow in an abnormal way. In a way, we can say that the empath is on drugs, self-made drugs. So the own brain is creating the drug. Fuck yeah. Okay? So your own brain is drugging you to make you think this person, wow, how can it be that this person so perfect for me is single? It's impossible. This person is so perfect. Mr. Right, Mr. Perfect, Mrs. Perfect. Impossible. How can it be? Ring the bell. At this point, this is the point of return, so you still can cut it off. At this point, you can still say no. Okay? But it's more difficult because your brain is tricking you into believing this person is perfect. Fuck. Your own brain. Your own brain. So it's very difficult to see. So this can go on and on until either you're hooked or not. Okay? The empath is hooked or not. But if the narcissist sees a success, so the empath being hooked, what will happen in the next stage is ghosting. Something called ghosting. So this person will disappear out of the blue. You don't know why. You don't know why. Or what you did wrong. At some point, without previous notice, this person disappears for 3 days, for a week. We don't know. So what happens in the brain of the victim? The levels of oxytocin drop as well, creating a level of serotonin to skyrocket. And this is the hormone that you get when you're depressed. Okay? So what this guy is doing, what this narcissist is doing is by this behavior is controlling us. Okay? It's a control pattern to control someone without any physical violence. It's subtle. It works like, I'm just gone. And you don't know why. And this you don't know why is going to crack your balls. It's going to crack your brain. It's going to break you. This, at this point, okay, you should run, break it, go. Take a plane and go to Spain and fuck 5 girls, 5 boys. Okay? It's the best way to forget. Right? Go, break it. Because if you don't do it, what will happen? Once they know that we are plugged off, okay, we are depressed or something like that, not so, they come back. And there is a lag. Okay, after they're coming back, oh, well, yeah, they were gone. Okay, we go up. The problem is that this time, the process is not linear anymore. It's not, our brain has already been, how do you say, imped, okay? So you see, if this high was here, the next high is going to be here. The problem is that it will happen again. These ups and downs will happen again. And at some point, the oxytocin levels will get out of balance with the serotonin levels, and the person is demoralized, totally unable to react anymore to this control sequence. Okay. And then you have lost 3, 4, 5, 10 years of your life. If you happen to have kids with a narcissist, then you are in trouble. So now you are what, 23, 24, 25 maybe? In 10 years, the latest, you will be dealing with this crap. Think of me. This happens also, of course, otherwise I wouldn't be telling it, in the workplace, okay? Of course. But this is super important for young people to know, this behavioral pattern. Also for the personal lives, okay? So how the thing ends, either you are a victim over years, at some point you break it up, and then it takes time to recover. Around the same amount of time that you were in, you will be recovering, okay? So if you were in a relationship for 2 years, you'll be recovering for 2 years, stuff like that, okay? And if you don't break it, then you stay a victim, because they never stop on hunting on people, okay? These people are just, these narcissists are just empty themselves. They cannot develop an emotional world for themselves, so they need to hunt on people to fill their emptiness. Okay?